Decided she was going to write the definitive French cookbook. This was despite the fact that before the war she'd had very little experience cooking, and she'd once made a duck explode in her oven. In the mid-1990s, a man who was unemployed as a commercial pilot decided to start a symphony orchestra. This was despite the fact that he had no formal music training. He lived in one of the most war-ridden countries in the entire world, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And finally, a woman who had been a farmer all of her life, raised 10 children, began to get arthritis and decided to take up painting. She was 78 years old and decided to start selling her paintings at the local drugstore. Can you imagine the responses people would give to these three people when they said they were going to make these drastic career changes? An orchestra. Where are you going to get instruments? Where are you going to learn to read music? Where are you going to learn how to conduct? You don't have any money. Let me get this straight. You want me to put up money to showcase the artwork of a lady nobody's ever heard of, just started painting, and is past her life expectancy? All of us have had thoughts from time to time about leaving our career to do something completely outside of that. Most of us toss that aside immediately as just pure fantasy or way too much work. But as these three people will show you, if you're willing to step outside of your career box, sometimes you can create amazing things. So before the Food Network, there was Julia Child. Julia Child, the former Secret Service agent, wrote her international bestseller, The Mastering the Art of French Cooking. She went on to become a beloved television personality for decades. Armand Dianginga was the commercial pilot. He did create an orchestra in the Congo. He now has over 200 members in that orchestra, and they've traveled all over the world giving performances. He was recently inducted into the Royal Philharmonic, very prestigious. And finally, this is Grandma Moses, who in the 1930s decided to take up painting. She was very prolific, lived until the age of 101, and made over 1,500 paintings. She's considered one of the most influential American painters. So all of us have skills beyond our job description. And when we got hired, most of us had probably looked at a job posting that had lists of skills that our employer wanted. Those likely weren't the only skills we had. We need to look for opportunities to move beyond that. I mean, did Grandma Moses just all of a sudden at the age of 78 contract artistic ability? No, she actually had displayed some artistic tendencies as a child, but she, from a very young age, had to go work to help her family on various farms. She put aside that talent. She had 10 children, so there was no time to work on anything. And this talent set aside for almost 60 years until she had a chance to develop it. So we need to keep our eyes open for opportunities to come up. How do opportunities come to us? Sometimes they come to us through other people. Sometimes it's just a matter of being at the right place at the right time. Our commercial pilot, Armand, had his opportunity thrust upon him through a tragedy. When he was on vacation, the cargo plane he normally flew crashed into a hillside and killed everyone on board. became unemployed, started tinkering with his orchestra. Julia Child, many of her opportunities came through other people. Her husband was a diplomat who was transferred to Paris after the war. She got introduced to French cooking, enrolled in a cooking school. Through some networking, met two other ladies who were working on their own cookbook. And they failed in that attempt, and they brought the idea to her to try to fix it for the American public. What are some ways we can be ready for opportunities? Let me give you three. First, look at your own job site and where you have opportunities to learn new skills. Where would an outsider say, this is a skill building opportunity that I don't even have? Number two, where in your field could you become an expert? Is there an area of your field you could become an expert in the next 3 to 5 years? Experts often get to the fringes of your profession, and it's there that you can start to see some ideas to expand beyond your current role. And finally, surround yourself with inquisitive, supportive people. Many of the people we've talked about have had supportive people to help them get to where they are. Sometimes opportunities just fall in your lap from out of the blue. When I was in my first job working at Duke, I'd been there about 5 years, and a recruiter called me about a job I didn't even know pharmacists could have. It involved working with a software team, cancer physicians based out of Pittsburgh, and no direct patient care with cancer patients. I had colleagues telling me, you cannot take this job. This is career suicide. You'll never be able to go back to work in a hospital. Well, as it turned out, I had a wonderful experience and gained a lot of new skills through this position. I was able to have some amazing experiences. I got to meet and work with the physician who treated Lance Armstrong. I worked on a testicular cancer tool, and I learned that I had some skills I didn't even know I had. Prior to that time, I was pretty afraid of public speaking, and this job forced me into doing webinars. Over the course of my 5 years, I ended up doing over 250 webinars with physicians. If you told me that before, I probably would have never taken the job, but that's a skill that I now have in my arsenal when other opportunities might come up. So, do you have to quit your job to expand your role beyond your career box? No. In fact, I would encourage you to start working on the side, on a side project. Find something, carve out a piece of time when you can work on, it could be anything. It could be reading to become an expert in your field. It could be tinkering with an invention. It could be working on a writing project. Any of these things, as long as it's something that you control and you're learning valuable skills from. There's not more time to work on your email or a project that your boss wants you to work on. You can learn some valuable things, even if your projects turn out to be failures. So, the three people that we've talked about, none of them should have been able to accomplish what they did based on their resume. But they were resilient, they were resourceful, they were self-learners. When we live in an age where you can teach yourself almost anything through a class, the internet, through mentors. And Julia Child got the best training she could get when she decided to take up cooking. When the cooking skill wasn't working out, she actually hired one of the chefs on the side to teach her. So when we think about our career, let's not limit ourselves to self-imposed boundaries based on what our role is supposed to be. Well, let's what it's supposed to be. Let's not. Don't limit yourself based on artificial boundaries. Surround yourself with supportive, inquisitive people that will help lift you up, and you will be surprised how far you can go and what you can achieve.